What's good? Welcome back to my channel. I was trying to get this video out yesterday. Listen, let me tell you something. This Diddy thing is getting out of line. It's getting out of line. A lot more people seem like they're gonna come out and say things about Diddy. A lot of people are scared. What I'm about to do right now is I'm about to go over this video where Candice Owens is saying that Diddy and Michael Jackson have a connection. Now, the crazy thing about this is Candice Owens, y'all know she like to run her mouth. She like to pop her shit. She like to talk. For her to say, yo, I'm leaving this alone because I feel threatened and I'm tired of being threatened, it's crazy. It's crazy. So let's jump into this, man. We're gonna let her talk, man, and see where we go with this, man.
And I'd say the biggest point that we took away from these Diddy docs was that this ring, if you believe it exists, can and will murder people to protect themselves. And he intimated this event that happened allegedly at a recording studio where Diddy and his son allegedly shot someone, and it was covered up by the LAPD and then the media. All right, so within those docs, and this is where it gets relevant, there is one man that is named as being the person that can do the cleanups, right? This is the guy that you are supposed to call if you get into any sort of a scenario. So in these docs, it says, Mr. Combs instructs his staff to always contact Mr. Muhammad, that is Fahim Muhammad, if they are ever pulled over by the police in Miami or California. And upon information and belief, this is regarding the shooting that took place at Chalice Recording Studios. Again, he is alleging that Diddy and his son shot someone. And after that shooting, the documents say explicitly that Mr. Muhammad spoke with the LAPD after G was shot at the recording studio. The LAPD was in the recording studio and witnessed the blood in the restroom, and they went with the bogus claim that the shooting of G occurred outside of the studio. This was all thanks to Mr. Muhammad's connections within law enforcement. So again, what we are seeing there is that you call this guy and this guy will make it disappear, and the media will report whatever the incident is in a capacity that covers up the crime, allegedly.
Yo, it's crazy, because Diddy, man, yo, not saying that none of this shit is surprising to me, because it's not surprising. But when you get a lot of money and you got that power and you got the power to push buttons, you do a lot of shit. You get comfortable doing a lot of shit. Things you get comfortable for, you feel like, yo, you know what, man, it's not gonna catch up with me, man. And the shit bites you in your ass, man. Yo, I really, and I'm not saying that I didn't believe any of the things that was going on with Diddy, but and we're gonna say allegations, you know what I'm saying, allegedly, but damn, bro, right now people are driving a hard bargain. Shit.
Well, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? The cleanup guy, Mr. Fahim Muhammad, was also on the scene when Michael Jackson died. So I want to introduce you to and allow you to listen to Ian Carroll. He's an independent journalist that is investigating everything that is going on, and he explains that connection that Fahim has with Michael Jackson. Take a listen.
So this new lawsuit just came out that shows tons of evidence that P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, has been running a sexual blackmail operation very much like Jeffrey Epstein, but in the rap and music industry for basically 30 years. And in that lawsuit, we learned that his head of security while he's running the sexual blackmail ring is this guy named Fahim Muhammad, who before working for Diddy was the head of security for Michael Jackson when he was only 21. And he was one of the first people on the scene when Michael Jackson died. And before we go to Michael Jackson, the most important part of the Diddy case to bring across is the fact that the record executives at the very top knew what P. Diddy was doing. They were attending the parties with underage girls where they were spiking drinks. They were deeply involved in Diddy's personal life, and all evidence points to them supporting his operation, or at the very least turning a blind eye to it.
So yes, this is obviously huge. It's also potentially terrifying. And now, if you want to be rational and use the rational side of your brain, you just go, okay, well, this could just be a coincidence, right? Like Fahim Muhammad, he is in security. And yes, he obviously is high up in security. He was providing security to Michael Jackson. He happened to die on his watch. Big deal, right? Big deal. Well, I think that would lead us to the question of who exactly is Fahim Muhammad, because that's kind of a big first job to have. You're 21 years old and you're protecting the king of pop.
That's what I was just about to say. Like, who are you? Like, where the fuck you come from that you're able to get this security detail? Like, getting that security detail is almost like being the Secret Service. Nigga, who are you? Who are you? Explain to me. I need y'all to find out who this dude is for real, man. Like, and you know what? Not for nothing, we ain't even gonna go too far on him. Because if he could touch Michael, he could touch... Go ahead.
What exactly are his qualifications? Let's go back to Ian Carroll and his reporting.
And now, here's the best part. Check this out. This is in all of his bios, by the way, but we're pointing it out now. In 2008, Fahim graduated from Sacramento State University with a Bachelor's of Science degree in Business Administration with a concentration in real estate and marketing. Okay? Do you realize what's wrong with that yet? Anything coming to mind? When did Michael Jackson die? June 25th, 2009. Jackson died from cardiac arrest caused by a propofol and benzodiazepine overdose, caused by his doctor apparently. Hold up. Hold the phone. Pause. Why is a dude who just graduated college last year with a business and real estate degree the head of security for the king of pop, for Michael Jackson, the most famous musician of all time?
Yeah, that is remarkably suspicious. And if we had a media that was interested in actually presenting the truth and not just propagandizing on behalf of the state, they would probably explore and look deeper into who this character is. But of course, that's not what the media does. Instead, they are meant to convince people of certain narratives. And like I said in the past, I've been a victim to that. I was obviously very young when everything was going on with Michael Jackson, and I believed the media, which is why I was kind of stunned to kind of go back and revisit the Michael Jackson case. And Ian has extensively unpacked that, revealing, and I did not know this, maybe perhaps because the media wasn't interested in telling us the end result. But yes, the FBI raided Michael Jackson's home. They poured through hours upon hours of the video footage that he had, other materials, documents that were in his house, trying to find this connection to Michael Jackson and potential child abuse. And what ended up being the result was that they could not find a single shred of proof.
That's the craziest thing with the Michael Jackson thing. You know, I always say, like, the internet, man, is a wicked, weird place, man. Not for nothing, I didn't do too much research on the Michael Jackson thing. But what I did feel, I didn't feel like Mike did those things, man. And once they found out there was no evidence, once they went in his house and they went through everything, tapes, documents, this, that, and the third, and they found nothing, they didn't say anything about that shit. The kid that they had say that Michael did something to him, I think he came out and said that his mom and dad made him say those things. Like, yo, it's crazy, man. It's crazy, especially with Mike, man. It's crazy, you know. And then he wasn't even here to see any of this. You know, he wasn't even here to clear his name. Yo, your name could just be thrown in the mud and you can't do shit about it. Nothing. Wow.
That Michael Jackson had abused any children. And yet, despite this, the media convinced us that he was a pedophile. Or maybe they didn't convince you, but they definitely did a good job convincing me that Michael Jackson was a pedophile. And to be clear, maybe it's perhaps the lack of evidence that was ever uncovered. Michael Jackson was found not guilty of all of the charges that were brought against him. But that didn't stop the media's obsessive attacks against him. They still wanted people to believe that this man was a bad individual. And so they shifted their claims and they started revealing in so many articles, so many front page news pieces were written to tell the masses that Michael Jackson was a raging anti-Semite. It is a fact, by the way, that Michael Jackson did keep a list of people in the industry that he said were his enemies, okay? On that list were people that all happened to be Jewish. So it was lawyer Gloria Allred, music exec Tommy Mottola, Rabbi Shmuley Boteach, you may have heard of him, and I'm going to mention him later, Israeli illusionist Uri Geller, and also Michael Jackson's former manager, Dieter Wiesner. Now, to be clear, it was Dieter himself that revealed that Michael Jackson had this list, but he says that Michael Jackson was just paranoid, that Michael Jackson thought that these industry people were all colluding to try to ruin his life and to take over his life. And again, that was just Michael Jackson being crazy and being a raging anti-Semite. Well, Ian Carroll also investigates those claims as well. Take a listen.
And yes, Jackson did say that the Jews are, probably referring to the Jews in the music industry, are like leeches and that they took everything from them and that they did it on purpose. But when you look into those allegations or those insults, you realize that because of his will that was probably fake and filed right before his death. So the will was signed on July 7th in Los Angeles by 3 witnesses. But Jackson's family pointed out that he was in New York that day, and there's video proving it. So they changed their story. But the witnesses definitely saw it, and it was just in New York. So anyways, because of this will, John Branca was put in charge of his estate, which included his net worth of $230 million, but far more importantly, his 50% share of Sony ATV worth $750 million. Yes, he was taking on Sony. He was going after the hand that feeds him. And when you look into John Branca, in 2003, Jackson fired Branca because he was siphoning money out of Jackson's accounts in collusion with Sony Music CEO Tommy Mottola and funneling it through a bunch of offshore accounts in the Caribbean. John Branca is Jewish, and Tommy Mottola is also Jewish.
Wow. Did you guys know that? Did you guys know any of that? Because I certainly didn't. I didn't realize that this was a conflict at the end of Michael Jackson's life, that suddenly they were alleging that he signed a new will and handed everything over to the very people that he was fighting, the very people that he was saying were colluding to take things from him, ended up, in the end, taking things from him, despite their remarkable mistake saying that he signed this new will in a place that he simply wasn't at. So yes, Michael Jackson's estate was transferred over to specific individuals who happened to be Jewish. So what do we make of all this? What do we make of all this? What do you think about all of this? Well, I'm going to be honest with you that these claims keep coming up too often in Hollywood for me to be comfortable with it, right? We saw this, obviously, it's not just now the Diddy lawsuit. It's not just now Michael Jackson. We also have seen these claims with Kanye West, notoriously, obviously, when he tweeted out, I'm about to go DEFCON 3 on some Jews, and the media freaked out, and people in the Jewish community were understandably very scared, not knowing what he meant. And I very much abstained from speaking much about the issue because people were so emotional that people couldn't hear, even if I had shared, and even when Kanye did share that he was speaking about specific people in Hollywood that he believed were coming after him and were trying to control him. He actually named some of those individuals. He shared personal text messages of a friend of his, a personal trainer to the stars, who again happens to be Jewish, who was threatening to put him in the hospital and to drug him against his will. Harley Pasternak is his name. And
the Diddy situation is so crazy because everything that has come out after Cassie has been believable. Like over the years, you've heard things and it wasn't really concrete shit, but everything that has everything that has come out after the Cassie situation has been like really believable. You got the cover-ups, you got the freak-offs, you got the this person, that person, not to mention people's name, and now you got the connection between him and Michael Jackson. The Michael Jackson connection being the person that's actually, protecting the Diddys And on Michael Jackson end, you got the person who might have stolen Michael's real estate, might have stolen Michael's estate, from his family, signed off certain things. He's put in a situation to rob this man's family. This shit is crazy, man. I always say this, man. I just said this on the pod. When you're a figure and you're a public figure, people are gonna come after you. Let's just say this. And I'm not saying that Diddy is innocent. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, when you're a public figure, you are actually marked. You have a mark on your back. Simple as that. People with no money want to get to your money. People who got money want to get to your money. Then you got people who don't have a light. They want to get to your light. They want to know why you're shining. They want to see how it feels to shine like that, and they want to steal your light. It is best to be out of this light. Sometimes you can't escape the light, man. It's best to be out of the light, because that light comes with so many different things. And with Diddy, that light comes with irresponsible things. Because let's just say, if these things are true about Diddy, you have been very irresponsible. Irresponsible because you got too comfortable with your money and your power. You use your money and your power to take advantage of different situations, different people, and that shit ain't good, man. But that's what happens when you get too much money. You got so much fucking money that you don't even know what to do. Like, all right, I did this shit already. I did this. I did this. I did this. Now it's time to do this. Yeah, you. I'm gonna do it. And it happens like that when you got so much money. Ending. Shit is real. Candice Owens is like, yo, listen, I want to bow out gracefully. This is the last time I'm speaking about this. Because she don't have a filter. She don't, she doesn't back off on anything. Shit is about to get real. You're gonna be watching, man. I'm out of here.